The Transpulse 1500, made by Magnet. I don't even know how you pronounce that. Magnet or Magnot. I think it's Magnet. A year in review. What have I come up with? What have I run them on? What were my expectations? And what is my conclusion? Well, in front of me, I've got my iPad, and I'm just going over the specs. They're a 3-way floor standing speaker with reflex ports that come out the front. 15-inch paper woofer. Mid-range is 17 centimeters, light diaphragm, robust basket structure with a dual 1-inch fabric dome tweeters. And they're kind of weird. They're in a horn. They're 95 dB sensitivity. They can peak out at 750 watts, nominal 500 watts. The impedance is anywhere between 8 and 4 ohms. Okay, so where did I start with these? This iPad's kind of bright. I'm going to just turn it down a little. Where did I start with these? Well, I brought them downstairs into my listening area, and I powered them with some old school amplification, my Kenwood KA9100. I think that was my first attempt, and I was pleased with the results, especially at the 3 watts mark. I did a video on this. I think it got copyrighted, so I don't know if you'll be able to find it, but if you want to go back and look, I believe it's in my shorts. I reviewed these speakers already, and to be honest with you, I don't think I gave them a fair shot. And what I mean by that is, well, it's quite simple, really. Speaker break-in. Is speaker break-in a real thing? Like, is it a real thing? I am going to stand by what I say, exactly what I say. Speaker break-in is everything. It takes a certain amount of time to get things loosened up and moving around. So, at this point, and I'll explain how I got to this point, but I have well over anywhere between 500 and 1,000 hours on these speakers. And that is not just listening to music, because come on, man, I actually have a job. I have a job. But I'll tell you soon how I got that many hours on these speakers. First was the Kenwood. The second was a Class D amplifier, which was my NAD C700, which has got a built-in Blue OS streamer. And you know what? They sounded better than they sounded on the old school Yamaha, the old school Kenwood. And I don't know why. I mean, they're similar in wattage. They're similar in, they're definitely not similar in technology, because the NAD is a Class D, and the old Kenwood, which is the key word there is old Kenwood. Not so brand new, had to use a DAC and a Weem Puck streamer and all kinds of different attachments and to get things into the system, because that's 100% analog and whatever. The NAD just brought out some different things in the speaker. Now, these speakers at this point are probably within 2 weeks old. And I think if you've seen my past video, I let them sit there for a while. So what did I do? I moved them into a bigger system. A comparison to a Forte 4 by Andrew Robinson made me think, maybe I should bring them into a bigger system, feed them a little bit more power, and see what they can do. This was probably at the age of maybe 3 weeks old, and the truth was not better at all. These speakers like 100 watts. That's it. That's all they like. I don't know why they would have marked them down for 400. I mean, I gave them 250. I actually kind of want to bring them back downstairs and give them 200 watts again because of the break-in period that they've seen. Now, okay, this is where it kind of gets a little weird. Okay. They sat there for quite a while, and they were hooked up to that same amplifier on speaker B, but I never played them. I just never played them. They just sat there, and they're really big. So I was like, good God, they're taking up a lot of space. They were $2,500. I got them for $1,000. And that's Canadian dollars for all you guys. And I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'm disappointed or if I expected more or what the deal was. But fortunately for me, I was, well, I don't know, unfortunately, fortunately, but I was comparing them to different things that I owned, like the Klipsch R7 threes. Well, at that point in time, I preferred the Klipsch R7 threes. Why? Because I had a significant more amount of money invested in those speakers than I did in the magnets. I just did. I bought the magnets because I saw a review and I, thought, wow, these are really fun speakers. And that's at least what the guy said. They're an extremely fun speaker. So, I mean, I was hooked at fun because I like Klipsch. So I like fun. I like Cerwin-Vega and I like fun. And I love 15-inch drivers. I just love them. They say this speaker goes down to 16 hertz. I don't know. I don't have any measuring equipment. Am I going to get any measuring equipment? Probably not. I have a job. I'm way too busy. But on the other side of that equation, I decided that I would bring them upstairs. And if you can hear sound in the background, that's them playing. Why? Because my wife is very sick. She's in and out of hospital all the time. And when she was gone to the hospital at one point, I decided to move them upstairs into the home theater system, which is powered by an RZ50, which is an Onkyo receiver, which is a highly regarded Onkyo receiver. I think it was built in 2021. And I had just bought it because we had changed our internet. And anyway, that's where these speakers got hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours put on them. Light listening, some loud listening. My wife is a little bit hard of hearing, probably due to some of the surgeries and different things that have happened to her over the years. And anyway, I moved them upstairs because they were going to be boomy and they were going to be loud. And I could control them with bass. I could control them with treble. I mean, I have a 7 system, a 7-speaker system. I'm running 7 speakers and 2 subs. There's room on the RZ50 to put 2 height speakers in. It's a living room scenario, so that's not happening, nor do I want it. The sound is just perfect for her and for me whenever I decide to go and listen to things or do things or whatever upstairs. And I have my own listening room downstairs. And the truth is my wife likes horror movies. And this is where I get slightly embarrassed and say, if I watch a horror movie, lots of times, I don't sleep well. Why? I have entirely too much stress in my own life. I don't need to watch a freaking horror movie to just accentuate it or make me think about what the hell and murder and this and that. And don't get me wrong, horror movies don't scare me, but the shit my wife picks, oh my God. She goes back into the 70s and 80s to find the real horror movies. The real sketchy, oh my God, horror movies. And she just really gets off on that sort of thing, and I have no clue why. Okay, this has been Labor Day weekend, so I opted out this weekend to watch a movie with my wife every evening on that system. And when I watch a movie, I want to watch it on Blu-ray or Ultra Blu-ray or even a music video on DVD. But we picked Blu-ray. What did we watch? We watched Australia. That was not on Blu-ray. That was on Apple TV. We watched Quantum of Solace. That was on Blu-ray. We watched Dune. That was on Ultra Blu-ray. We watched Dune Part 2. That was on Ultra Blu-ray. We watched, a couple other ones. Anyway, I had to do some Googling after experiencing the very first Ultra Blu-ray and Blu-ray that I was playing. Now, hooked into the RZ50 is a DU820 Panasonic Ultra Blu-ray player, incapable of playing SACDs, which is kind of sucks, but it'll play a CD. It'll play everything but an Ultra or a HD CD, which is kind of, that's a Sony, whatever. I can never say this word, but it's pretty much owned by Sony. And, if you want one, you got to buy it in Sony. And now that I look at it, I may actually go get a Sony just to hear, an SACD or Blu-ray music CD or whatever they make. You can't find them around where I live, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. Now, this is what I had to Google. I had to Google, does a Panasonic DU820 Blu-ray player act in any way, shape, or form like a preamp? And I grokked it, so it figured itself out and then give me a whole bunch of answers. And the answers was no, 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 and no. And then it gave me information on different sound characteristics and different, things that the Panasonic is capable of, like a 7.1 sound, which the Onkyo is capable of delivering, which, of course, everything goes into the Onkyo and then into the TV, or one from the TV into the Onkyo, and the Onkyo looks after everything else. We have an Apple TV, we have a Blu-ray player, we have, what else do we have? We have cable satellite. Pretty decent internet. So, like, no buffering, no bullshit, no nothing. Updates are all done. Everything's good. The Blu-ray blew me away. It blew me away. And not just one of them. The Ultra Blu-ray absolutely blew me away with the sound. To the point where I actually switched the amplifier to, you can do DTXS, so you can do, you know how AVR works. You can do like unplugged, you can do classical, you can do movie, game, you can do all stereo channels. I just switched it to stereo. So all I was listening to was a movie in 2-channel, which is basically only giving me the Transpulse 1500s. Well, that's where I realized how much I absolutely love those speakers, and how much I would love to take them back downstairs and hook them up to some real power now that they're broken in. So speaker break-in is definitely something. And okay, it's subjective. Okay, I get that. But the sound quality, the sound presentation, I'm not going to tell you that it was 3-dimensional and it was this and it was that, but it was a presence, an absolute fill the room presence. And I've got vaulted ceilings and all kinds of stuff. And these things are isolated because I've got hardwood and tile floors. But the sound, like the engagement to that movie in 2-channel or 7.2 channel was absolutely remarkable. So, in my conclusion to these speakers, $900, German made, big. They're bigger than the Forte 4. They're smaller than the Klipsch Cornwall, but they're big. They're big. They're a 3-way. Yeah, they have a 6.5 mid. Yeah, they have a strange horn, but they have that 15-inch driver that they say can go down to 16 hertz. In conclusion, Well, this is where I draw my conclusion. I put a CD in. I put a CD into that CD player just to solidify it. And of course, it was one of my favorite CDs, Fear Inoculum by Tool. And I listened to it off a Class D RZ50 Onkyo receiver. And I was blown away, completely blown away by the sound, the characteristics. I even played Chocolate Chip Trip just to see the side to side. You know, that amplifier, that AVR, does not do what my big, expensive, powerful stuff does. It just doesn't. But it does it in a different way. That speaker was designed to be with an RZ50 or something similar. And that is my conclusion. I still want to take it down and listen to some Class A, Class B richness, especially that 45 original watts of Class A. Soft listening with records and stuff like that, because, well, that would be cool. But let's face it, in my scenario, I buy a speaker for a reason, and I use a speaker because I bought it. And removing it from my wife's system right now, because I simply asked her, how much do you like these speakers? She goes, what do you mean? And I said, the two big speakers that are sitting on either or. How much do you like them? And she just said, I love them. I can hear them really well. They're great. Now, my wife knows very little about speakers. She knows very little about stereos. She knows very little about my YouTube channel. She just does. She just doesn't, I should say. So, in conclusion, would I buy these speakers again? Yeah, I would. I said that in my last review too, and this time I'll solidify that. I would just rather they be black. The darker color would be fine, but I'd like them black for my home theater. I like darkness in my home theater, and that's just how I feel. So any questions or concerns, feel free to ask me. If you've stayed with me this long, listening to this me ramble on about the Transpulse Magnet 15s, then like and subscribe. I had a goal by Labor Day that I would have 100 subscribers. I've got 99 today, and it is Labor Day. And thank you very much. VSP is out, and I'll be around. I'll keep doing what I do. Thank you very much for listening.